Hello everyone! Today's topic is why is life so tedious? A Buddhist viewpoint. Well then, why is life so tedious? When we try to find an answer to this question, we might point to things like a lack of money, marrying the wrong person, not being attractive enough, or being born to our particular parents. None of these, however, is the actual cause of life being tedious. Others may claim that it's because we ourselves are boring and we're looking at life in a way that makes it tedious. If we just change our mindset, they say, we'll see just how beautiful and meaningful life really is. But that's not the actual cause either. In fact, Sakyamuni Buddha taught that if you zoom out and look at life as a whole, it is intrinsically tedious. That is because we are in what he called the endless cycle of existence. In life, we are constantly going around and around and around in the very same cycle, endlessly, day after day after day, and that is why life feels so tedious. Even the most enjoyable of activities will become a chore if we have to keep doing it again and again and again. All the more so if our everyday consists of nothing but the very same dull, boring, uninspiring activities, life will naturally feel incredibly tiresome. Buddhism teaches that life is persistently tedious precisely because we are stuck in this endless cycle. So today, let us learn about why our existence is an endless cycle, as well as how a tedious life can be transformed into one full of brightness, cheer, and fulfillment. Today, I will talk about the following 3 points. 1. A life without seeking. Is this the solution? 2. Our mountainous desire predisposes us to seeking. 3. The endless cycle of existence. Buddhism teaches of the 8 sufferings. These are all the various kinds of human suffering, universal to all people, summed up into 8. One of these is the suffering of not gaining what we seek. When we strive to acquire the things we want, but we don't manage to get them, that makes us suffer. For example, maybe the person you like isn't interested in you at all, or you fail to get into the dream university you've studied your whole life to get into, or you turn out to not be qualified or skilled enough to get the job you've always wanted. It hurts to not be able to get what we want in this way. Perhaps there's a particular position you want at your workplace, but the promotion never comes. You might find yourself in love with someone who's head over heels for someone else. You end up staying unfulfilled and lonely, and it really gets you down. In this way, there are various things in life that we seek to obtain, but things don't always go our way, and when we don't manage to get what we want, we suffer. Moreover, the stronger our desire to gain something is, the more it will hurt when we don't manage to get it. If we only want something a little bit, then if we can't have that thing, we might be a little disappointed, but we can shrug it off. For instance, if we're attracted to someone but not in love with them, it doesn't matter too much if they're not also attracted to us. We can just find someone else. If, however, we're madly in love with the person to the point where we think they're the only one for us, it is absolutely crushing if it turns out they don't feel the same way. As for work, if we're currently working part-time but are trying really hard to earn a permanent position, it's no fun at all to see everyone else around us getting hired as full-time employees while we remain stuck as part-time workers. And the more we want that position, the worse this situation feels. Because of this, some people claim that it's better not to seek things out in the first place. You shouldn't hope or want or dream, they say, because this only leads to you getting hurt, and so it's better to try to live without doing these things. Some people will refuse to add their friends on instant messaging apps no matter how well they get along. Their reasons vary. Some say it's because it's disappointing when friends stop replying to messages over time due to getting busy, while others say that they want to keep a certain distance from people out of fear of being betrayed. The latter think that if they just don't hope for any kind of friendship from the get-go, they won't get hurt when they don't get what they wanted. Refusing to depend on others in this way, they believe, will allow them to maintain their happiness and peace of mind. But can we really call that happiness? Well, no. The reality is that a life spent avoiding friendships will be lonely, dull, and unfulfilling. It's not going to make you glad to be alive. So then, is it better to allow ourselves to freely desire things, hope for things, and have dreams after all? Well, if we choose that path, we will still have to deal with the pain of not getting what we want. Whether we let ourselves hope for things or not, then life is going to be painful either way. Furthermore, even if we intend to disallow ourselves from hoping for things, we actually cannot help but hope for things anyway. After all, we humans are each a mass of blind passions, and our desires are endless, no matter how we may try to suppress them. Of all our many desires, two of the strongest are the desires for fame and wealth. We want to be praised, appreciated, cherished, and respected by others, and we don't want to be looked down upon or made fun of. This is the desire for fame. We also want money, and as much of it as we can get. We rejoice when we see our bank balance going up and wonder how we can make it go up even more. This is the desire for wealth. Our desires for fame and wealth are extremely strong, so all people are naturally inclined towards pursuing the both of them. We can't go through life without pursuing them. In fact, let's hear a story from ancient China that demonstrates this. Once upon a time, there lived an emperor in a mountain palace overlooking the Yangtze River, one of the longest rivers in the world, and a very wide one too. This was long before the invention of highways and railroads, so many people would make use of the river to travel by boat instead. Gazing at all the boats going to and fro, the emperor asked the minister sitting next to him how many boats passed by on this river each day. To this, the minister replied, "Your Majesty, the answer is 2. The emperor was taken aback. "What are you talking about, man?" He sputtered, "I see hundreds of boats going by on this river." But the minister calmly responded, "Your Majesty, there are most certainly 2 boats, boats pursuing fame and boats pursuing wealth." "Ah, I see," said the emperor, nodding. "Yes, you are quite right." Indeed, though physically there were a great many boats on the river, they were all journeying to find either success, praise, and recognition, or money and treasure. The same could be said of modern highways, that there are only 2 cars, those pursuing fame and those pursuing wealth. In our daily lives, the desires for fame and wealth serve as powerful driving forces, spurring us on to work as hard as we can to obtain all the success, praise, money, and possessions that we want. What really motivates us to knuckle down and give our all is that we want to be admired by others and gain as many material benefits as possible. Fame and wealth often go hand in hand, in that the more fame you gain, the more money you're likely to gain, and the more money you gain, the more recognition will come with that too. Social networking sites are a prime example of this. If you gain enough likes, followers, and subscribers, you are essentially building a brand that you can make money from. The more views and followers you get, and the more widely recognized you become, the more money you'll make. Then, as you get richer, you'll gain more and more admirers. People will gush to others about how hardworking you are and how much of a role model you are, inspired and awestruck by your impressive income. In this way, fame feeds into wealth, and wealth feeds into fame, and our actions are influenced by our constant pursuit of the both of them. There is no one who seeks nothing at all, and even Master Shinran was no exception. On this, he said, "How grievous! I, most foolish Shinran, am troubled by the great mountain of desire for fame and wealth. Oh, how pathetic of me!" He lamented, "My desire for fame and wealth is as enormous as a mountain, and it torments me constantly." Buddhism teaches that our desire for fame and wealth is one of the blind passions. These are states that trouble and torment us. Master Shinran knew this very well, and yet he found himself unable to help but constantly chase after fame and wealth. He cursed himself as a fool for doing so. We are gripped by our desire to be praised and cherished, but that desire leads us to suffer when others ignore us, or fail to appreciate us, or treat us like we hardly even matter. We are eager to gain as much money as we can, but that desire also leads us to suffer when our funds dry up or our money is stolen from us. This is our reality. Failing to gain what we seek brings us pain. While it is true that disallowing ourselves from seeking out anything would mean we would no longer suffer from not gaining what we want, we actually cannot help but seek things out. It is for this reason that our suffering goes on endlessly. Everyone seeks out different things in life. Those who seek can be divided into those who gain what they want and those who don't. To have taken an exam is to have sought to gain a passing grade. Amongst those who took the exam will be those who failed and those who passed. Those who failed are those who didn't manage to gain what they wanted, which brings them suffering. Those who passed, of course, will not be experiencing this kind of suffering and will instead be happy at their result. So it is not that seeking to gain things will always result in failure and suffering. There will also be times where we gain the joy of successfully getting what we want. Managing to get what we want can be a very difficult hurdle to pass, however, particularly when it comes to things like gaining employment in a highly competitive field of work. A huge number of other people will also be applying for the very same role, so actually managing to land an offer for this kind of job is no mean feat, to say the least. In fact, the majority of hopefuls will fail to get a spot. Truly, the suffering of not gaining what we seek is ever present in this world. Tales abound of unrequited love, rejection, loss, failure, scams, and deceit. Even when we do manage to get what we want, our joy at having done so lasts only for a time. Before long, our elation at our success will fade, and what we got won't even stay with us forever. Things will go one of two ways. Either we will be betrayed by that thing, or we will grow tired of it. Let's say we confess to our love interest and, to our surprise, they say they feel the same. Hooray, a happy ending? Or is it? Well, many fairy tales end at this point. Cinderella, for example, ends with the protagonist winning the heart of Prince Charming and living happily ever after. Real life, however, isn't so simple and doesn't just reach a happy ending when we find a partner. Were Cinderella real, her life could go a number of ways after she marries Prince Charming. He might end up cheating on her and leaving her feeling utterly betrayed, or she might be disappointed and put off to find that this man who once looked so perfectly dashing atop a white horse is balding and pudgy by the time he reaches middle age. There is no guarantee that the joy Cinderella once felt on her wedding day won't cool off into dissatisfaction and frustration. Achieving what we wanted does bring us joy, but the sad fact is that it does not last. At some point, we end up either being betrayed or growing tired of the thing we once rejoiced over. Which one do you think is more common? We might be forced apart from the one we love when they suddenly die, which is a kind of betrayal, since we had faith that they would stay with us till the end, or we might find our feelings for them simply grow cold. When things like this happen, we are left wondering how this could be when we were once so happy together and were so sure that we would stay that happy. Whether we've been betrayed or our feelings of joy at what we've gained wear off, or we didn't manage to gain what we sought in the first place, we will end up switching course and going after some other goal that we hope will make us happy. We might take a path we hope will earn us renown, for instance, or perhaps we will seek to accomplish something that will make us rich. Whatever we end up choosing, however, if we find success, the euphoria of managing to gain what we sought lasts only for a time before it wears off, or we are betrayed, and then we pursue yet another goal. This cycle just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating endlessly. What this means is that we are constantly suffering due to not actually gaining what we want. Our elation at gaining what we thought we wanted is only fleeting, when we even manage to gain anything at all, so we're not actually gaining the lasting satisfaction that we seek. It's as if we're all just running endless laps on a circular track without a goal. This is the endless cycle of existence that Buddhism teaches about. Our existence being an endless cycle in this way is the reason why life is so tedious. Life feels fulfilling if we have a specific goal that we are gradually working towards, but other than that, we keep having to do the same things over and over and over and over and over again. And that cycle will continue until we grow old and die. If that were all there could possibly be to life, it would mean life couldn't be anything but pointless tedium until the end, and wouldn't that be depressing? Thankfully, however, Buddhism teaches that there is a solution to this. The Buddhist teachings begin by acknowledging that life as it is this meaningless and tiresome cycle, and then it tackles the question of how we can escape this cycle. In order to escape the cycle, Buddhism tells us that we first need to know its root cause. It is taught that all results have a cause without exception, and that since the endless cycle of existence is a result, it too must have a cause. Once that cause is severed at the root, we will be forever liberated from our suffering, as we see from the larger Sutra of Infinite Life, where Buddha taught that what must happen is the removal of the roots of afflictions of birth and death. If we are to be freed from the endless cycle of existence referred to in the sutra as birth and death, and attain the true happiness that we seek, what must happen is that the real source of our suffering be severed at the root. Only then will we finally be released from the wheel of delusion and know true peace. Having established this, Sakyamuni Buddha dedicated his life to explaining how exactly we can have the root cause of our suffering destroyed. This cessation of suffering, this liberation from the endless, tedious cycle we find ourselves stuck in, is precisely what is taught in Buddhism. To sum up then, in order to attain real happiness, first we need to face the fact that life is characterized by pointless tedium. This is because it is only when we face this truth that we can get to the solution, which is severing the real cause of our suffering at its root. Once that cause has been eliminated, we will finally find the true happiness we have longed for. This is what Sakyamuni Buddha taught. This channel is dedicated to explaining what exactly it is that Buddhism teaches in a way that is easy to understand, using a variety of topics that relate to everyday life. So if you would like to learn more, do feel free to hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching this video.